Proton therapy is a cutting-edge cancer treatment that precisely targets tumors without affecting healthy tissue and organs. That means fewer side effects, better outcomes, and new hope for even the most complex cancer cases. And in New York State, it's only available at the New York Proton Center. Visit nyproton.com to learn more about proton therapy and request a consultation. The New York Proton Center, precisely revolutionary cancer care.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And I think that is the most disgusting thing. The very people who keep us safe ought to be honored and protected and praised by Democrats and Republicans alike. It is time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement. Because here's what happens. Because here's what happens when Democrats like Gavin Newsom did say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell, and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
Welcome, my friends, to the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. We got a lot to do today. Of course, you know the attack at a Dallas ICE facility in Texas, of course, this morning took the lives of 2 migrants. And it is being reported that a third migrant is in very critical condition. Not sure. The shooter has been identified, Joshua Yan, 29 years old. Some of the liberal mainstream media sources of news are still searching for a motive, but it seems pretty clear based on information that we have this morning, that was available this morning. The shell casings had been marked with anti-ICE rhetoric. That rhetoric J.D. Vance is talking about. And he mentioned Gavin Newsom. We will play the Newsom cut. It's just another one of these tragedies that just unfold. Every day there seems to be something else. Time is going to be short today, so let's get right to it. Gavin Newsom, Kimmel was back last night. I predicted yesterday he'd have great ratings. After maybe a week or two, the ratings will start to taper off, and then finally they'll settle back to where they were, which is losing. He did some media outlets gushing over his appearance. Turning Point USA has rejected the so-called apology that he made because they said he didn't take responsibility. What we need is, what we need from Andrew Clovet, Turning Point USA spokesman, what we need is, I'm sorry, I lied, I was wrong, and I won't do it again. And my apologies to the Kirk family and Erica Kirk. And that wasn't said. When somebody like Jimmy Kimmel says that the shooter of Charlie was MAGA, what he's really saying is that it's okay to lie about conservatives, that their lives don't matter, that his agenda, his political agenda, and his cultural agenda is more important than the life of my friend who was just taken from us and robbed from us. So ABC can pat themselves on the back. Disney can pat themselves on the back. Perhaps they've staunched the bleeding for now. Nexstar and Sinclair still are not airing the show. We shall see. As I said, liberals I read some about how wonderful it is. He pulled off the impossible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to bother with any Jimmy Kimmel cuts, unimportant to me. Okay. By the way, we may not have time to get to everything. We're going to have a guest at the bottom of the half hour. Paul Stone, who we talked to before for a few moments, has a new book out. We're going to just speak with him about that. Hillary Clinton was on MSNBC. Quite interesting remarks she made. But I want to go to the issue of the rhetoric. We know that the shooting happened. There's not much I can say that you don't already know about this. The rhetoric, you have heard, you will hear. Gavin Newsom was on Colbert last night, another one of the five liberal men that dominate late night television program in America. That's cut 8, and this is what he had to say.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require you have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government. You saw what Stephen Miller said last week. This should put chills up fine. Called the Democratic Party an extremist organization. Basically a terrorist organization, saying he's going after his enemies. You saw the tweet that Donald Trump sent out, Truth Social, basically telling Pam Bondi, I want these 3 people taken out. That's happening in the United States.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom can keep stoking the fears. Let us not forget the person, and you want to talk about why they are an extremist organization, the Democrat Party. Let's go back and revisit the governor who was then the vice presidential nominee for the Democrat Party, Tim Walz. This was a speech, a commencement address to college students, cut 16. And this is how Governor Walz defined America's law enforcement agencies that are tasked with securing immigration. That's all, securing the country from illegal immigration. And this is how Governor Tim Walz described them.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye, just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. To be clear, there's no way for us to know whether they were actually criminals or not, because they refused to give them a trial. We're supposed to just take their word for it.
Now, all of these Democrats have in common, they're pretending that there has not been any due process at all, which is a nonsense point. There has been due process. They're here illegally. And many of them have already had orders to go. Many of them were let in this country without vetting. Others, 11 million we know, by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They have overwhelmed the system. Now, if Democrats want, and I mentioned this before, if Democrats really want, and what they're demanding that we all just sort of sign on to is the idea that with 20 million people, everybody should have an extended legal, drawn-out case that could go on for years. There is no way that this country has the ability to do that, and they know that. There is no way that we should do it. Many of these people just walked across the borders. And you hear Gavin Newsom, you hear Democrats talk about black and brown communities, always the race card with these Democrats, always the race card. They don't, if you talk about the race of people coming in, if you say that there were 12 million brown and black people coming into the country, then automatically they would have a column call you a racist. But when they say you're going after the 11 to 20 million black and brown people that have come into the country, then you're not, what are you? You're lying? No, you're not lying. This is who came in the country. And this is who Democrats wanted to come in the country. And I've made it the point for years, Democrats praise this as the browning of America is what they called it. And they looked forward to the day when white Americans would no longer be the majority in America. And they kept saying this day is coming, and they talked about it politically. Now when people actually are dealing with the circumstance that you have people in the country, and a lot of them that came in. Not all, by the way, because the Trump administration, the illegal immigration efforts, there have been people from Europe that are not black or brown that have been captured and sent back home or repatriated elsewhere. There have been people from Asia. They used to call them yellow. I guess they're calling them brown now. They did, liberal. The yellow man was how they used to refer to Asians. Doesn't matter. But the point is, they want you to pretend that what exists doesn't exist. They open the doors, the borders to America, and let 11 million people in over the last 4 years. Before that, maybe 20 million is the number we have. So up to 30 million people, let's say. And now they want to, if you start then saying you have to go home, now you're racist, because now you're taking out brown and black communities. This is all such garbage. We're taking out, the administration through law enforcement is trying to remove an illegal community. Not a black community, not a brown community, an illegal community that came to this country knowingly breaking American laws and knowingly should be made to go home. And it's that simple. None of the rest of it matters. None of it matters. The color of their skin doesn't matter. The language that they speak doesn't matter. Where they came from doesn't matter. What matters is that they broke United States law in coming here, and they should be made to go home. And the people tasked with making them go home, sending them home, are now being called Nazis. You heard Tim Walz say that they're being sent to foreign torture dungeons. And you wonder why these unhinged leftists are going mad. Gavin Newsom claims in the same interview that cut 9. This is what he also said.
I fear that we will not have an election in 2028. I really mean that in the core of my soul, unless we wake up to the code red, what's happening in this country, and we wake up soberly to how serious this moment is.
So wake up to code red. What does that mean exactly? And what is he advocating people doing? Well, some people are interpreting that as the very country is at stake. Everything is at stake. It's all at stake. And is it any wonder that there are unhinged individuals now listening to these words from Democrats like Gavin Newsom, like Walz, and we have some others. There's another one, Representative Chewy, what's his name? Garcia, who was on with Don Lemon. And oh my gosh, it's just insane what Democrats are touting and openly saying. And then you wonder why unhinged people listening to this stuff or believing what they're saying want to take action and take action into their own hands. Let's take a break, yes, because I do want to play that Chewy Garcia when we get back. It's at 20. Actually, yes, we'll hold on to it till we get back. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This Sunday is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, and our team is in need of your support. Right now, every dollar counts. The WABC hosts must all rally their loyal audience to participate. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk and help your favorite hosts right here at WABC and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk. Help WABC raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we promised you to listen to some of the other Democrats, elected Democrats. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play 3 of them back to back. The first is Representative Chewy Garcia. Second, Representative John Larson, all Democrats. And the third one, you know, of course, and would probably recognize her voice immediately. That would be Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. So you want to know the kind of rhetoric that is behind what has happened today in Dallas? Look no further than this.
We're seeing aggressive Gestapo-type tactics in people being approached on the street, in their home, at the clinic, at church, at all kinds of locations. That's why this morning on the House of the Floor, I warned the American people that this is looking like the American Gestapo in the making.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourselves.
And families, and I wanted to talk to them directly about what happened here a few hours ago. And frankly, I'm just outraged because what happened is that when ICE went in, they just took people away. And we just can't have this in our city. And it happened multiple places in the city. And what it does is that it sows a sense of terror throughout the community. For example, one location at a Home Depot, there was raids there. ICE was literally chasing people down the street. And then later on today, there's a graduation a few blocks away. What are the parents going to feel? Are they going to feel that they can go to their kids' graduation or they can't because they're not safe?
Can you tell us a little
Carlos,
bit more about the conversation?
Also, just line up 19, because this is also something that Karen Bass said. And listen, this goes by quick. 9 seconds, folks.
It really amounts to hunting people that look like they're Latino. It's hard to get your car washed in L.A. now. Why? Because they prey on car washes.
So ICE is hunting people that look like they're Latino and can't even get your car washed because ICE is out hunting. And so you have a combination of this racial hatred that these people continue to stir up in this country, and also this continued rant from Democrats, elected irresponsible, that what we are seeing is the Gestapo. Now, if anybody has ever studied the horrors of what took place during World War II, what the Gestapo actually did, and what the Nazi regime actually did to people, they were not trying to enforce the law. This is despicable. And what is the House of the Floor? I know. Yes. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Fastest hour in American media. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, whatever you do, do not go away. Keep it right here.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I would just say that if you want a messenger to go against Donald Trump, you could do far better as Democrats than Kamala Harris. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at her net favorable ratings nationwide. You know, back in October of 2024, she was at -5 points. Not exactly great, but pretty close to the zero mark, right? Pretty close to even. But now, down under she goes. She's at -13 points. That's an 8-point drop. Since the general election among the overall electorate, she is not well liked at this particular point. The American people, they don't want this. They don't want her. And get this, she's 37 points underwater with independents. If you can't win independents, you can't win the election. And the bottom line is, with those in the center of the electorate, those who are the most up for grabs, she is way, way, way underwater. She is definitely swimming with the fishes.
So that
Kamala Harris swims with the fishes is the message from Harry Enton, CNN's Post. Boy, does that bring back some memories. With us is Paul Stone, co-author of How All America's Problems Can Be Traced to a Singular Day in History. That is quite a title, but it's quite a concept. It's a book, and Paul and I have spoken before about this. And Paul, I'm so glad you put it into a book so that you can share these thoughts with people and, of course, enter this into the public discussion. Paul Stone, The Far-Reaching Consequences of Richard Nixon, Removing the United States Dollar from the Gold Standard. You say it's reshaped the American economy, set the stage for decades of instability, inflation, mounting debt. People are being affected by it with rising costs, stagnant wages, and an uncertain future. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, the book 1971, you can get it on Amazon. I'm very proud of that. And I do believe, and what I love is some of the commentators about the book have said, this story has never been told. It has never been told. How Nixon's decision affected the appearance that racism is a great deal worse today than it ever was when Martin Luther King was walking around, the death of the American family, and a society that anesthetizes itself with drugs.
Wait a minute. I gotta ask you about that, because drugs were already a part. The sex, drugs, and rock and roll were already a part. In fact, that was the Vietnam era that Nixon was presiding, and that stuff was already present and blowing up in the American population. So how'd you arrive at that conclusion?
So there's a good two-part answer to that. One, the specifics of that era, if you will. But let me drop you back just to a quick question so from the Egyptians to the 60s, right? Yeah. Thousands of years of humanity.
Millennia. Yes.
Check it out. They could have done drugs all day and no one would have arrested them. They could have smoked peyote, snorted coke, smoked pot, drank wine all day, and no one would even have cared. They lived in a stone hut. They lived in a cave, some home made out of branches. So why didn't they do it? They could have partied like it's 1999 their whole life. Why? Because people do drugs when they're miserable. They do drugs when they're seeking relief en masse. And what was happening in the 60s? I guess it was the first war no one agreed with. Because they certainly agreed with World War II and World War I. They agreed with the War of Independence and the Civil War. Both
sides.
They
did not.
Yo, they did. They
did not.
They did.
The majority of Americans, well, I don't want to argue with you, but the majority of Americans were not in favor of the War of Independence. That's fact. But I get your larger point.
They were fighting for personal freedom, though. So there was a clean and just motivation for that war. My point is in the 60s, that war in Vietnam was just a giant, and they were getting slaughtered. They weren't sending the forces over there to win the war. It was cowardice because they were afraid the Chinese would come across the border and then it would expand. This is the most disgusting war ever fought because it could have been won in minutes like we did in Iraq. But you have cowards in Washington. And the thing about Nixon, let's go back to that. So I'm saying that there's a lot I could say, but we're, on radio, we're crunched for time. So get the book, 1971 on Amazon, and you'll see the justification, background, and fact data that backs up what I'm saying. Isaac Newton says, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Does that make sense? If I shot a bullet up at the sky and it passed out the ozone layer and went into space, it would literally never stop traveling in the exact speed and the exact path it's on forever unless something interacts with it. Human society is the same way. It was the same. There was some different colors and schemes and this and that. But generally for thousands of years, a couple things. Society never anesthetized itself with drugs en masse routinely. Never. And women, when they became close to becoming mothers, they had the option to go stay in the job or go home and be a mom. And overwhelmingly, they chose motherhood. But that option was stolen from, was removed from them because at the time, the 70s are kicking around the 80s, one income isn't enough anymore. Why? Because when the government prints money, it causes the source of ultimate misery. It destroys peace of mind. It causes you to feel inept because your earnings can't overwhelm your bills. And that is at 8 a.m., 8 p.m., midnight, 2 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, all day, forever. 70% of our country is not earning more than its bills. People are literally juggling and wondering what to pay late this month. And when birthdays and holidays roll around, it's a car trip lots of times. You're not jumping on a plane and spending time at some place you'd see on Instagram.
And so you say this is all, and this is one of the premises of the book. This began, the economy was derailed. The American economy was derailed when we left the gold standard.
Well,
why?
So Giant parts of it were improved vastly. You have technologies and capabilities, and every grocery store shelf is full of food in this country. And that is only possible if you flood the world with money. But there's always an offset. And it's not an economics book. It's a story. It's captivating. I'm very proud of it. So it's not any, there's no charts and tables. There's some data and this and that and examples by the government. But there's always an offset. Every time, right? We look at the horrific passing murder of Charlie Kirk, and now there are hundreds of thousands of chapters rising up in his, in the void that he's
and Turning
leaving,
Point
right?
USA, yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
So even when there's terrible things, there can be a good outcome, and there's good things, there can be a bad offset, right? The bad offset is that the more money you print, the less you have.
Okay, which is the basis, by the way, of inflation. The more money you print, the less you have.
Because it shouldn't be there. It's a falsehood. And the world and Mother Earth sees us cheating. The commodity is of the earth. And it says, hey, I just need $1. I cost $1. And you pay it. Well, you see, you're printing money there. Well, now I'm $2. Well, now I'm $2.50, $3, $4.80, $5.10, $6.15, $8, $10, $12. So just one prime example when the money printing really kicked in. I mean, it kicked in right away. The war on drugs started in the 80s. Women are marching in front of Washington looking for equal rights, ERA. Why? Why are they in the workforce? I mean, God bless them. Come join the workforce. Why it was new, though. See, so they didn't get paid what men got paid, and they were complaining like, "Well, I'm doing the same job some guy's doing. When you pay me the same, he's getting paid." Well, you just got here. You weren't here before. You look at pictures of people going to work on buses and trains. It's all guys in the 40s and 50s, and suddenly in the 80s and 90s, it's women because one income couldn't handle the load anymore. You needed two.
Right.
I know this is an uncomfortable set of topics.
I'm not uncomfortable because let me tell you something. Look, first of all, I don't get uncomfortable about very many things. I just know we only have a limited time, and I can speak with you about this for hours.
Let's go.
Okay,
let's dial up a late night session.
Because most of, by the way, and so part of what happened when you start talking about the younger demographic of women in the workplace, most of the income that was made, and I don't know about these numbers now because I haven't looked recently, but most of it went to things like childcare and to pay for what their absence in what was formerly the caregiving in the home thing. But that's a whole conversation.
There's a cost
that has layers.
Yes. So,
now, I want to get to the point. You say that there's a crisis ahead because we are off the gold standard. This money's being printed. There's nothing backing the money. It's just being, and I read this, and I think we talked about this once. I read a phrase that came from an economist that talked about right now, they don't even call it money being printed. Money is being created.
Yeah.
They're creating money.
Issued. Yep.
Issuing money with no backing. Oh. And is it, and am I right about this? Your premise is that this is going to lead to no good.
So this is what I love about what I've come to learn about life on Earth is you just can't have something for nothing. You've got to do the work. You got to have the courage. You got to have the humility. You got to have the go for it. You got to be able to apologize. You got to be able to forgive. You got to, you don't get anything for nothing. So if you want to recognize that everything on Earth has a limit to it, the value of money has a limit. It was once worth 100 cents, the U.S. dollar. And Nixon did what he did in 1971. He uncoupled reality from the financial world. In the year 2000, the dollar's worth 56 cents. Today, it's worth 3 cents. So we're about to run up. I don't care what the suits say. We're about to run up against some mathematical limits. And the last time I checked, humans aren't the boss of the planet. We're just the irritant. We're the visitors. Math is permanent. Math can be the basis of almost everything you look at, and it's also the only language that cannot lie. And you can't make it lie. Math can't lie, so it is literally saying to you 97% of the value of your dollar is gone. So if it was the steel infrastructure in every skyscraper around the world, the financial architecture, it is 97% weaker today than when it was built. And eventually, mathematically speaking, that goes away. But the book is about empowering. It is about helping people become aware of they aren't bad. They aren't dumb. There's nothing. They're not inferior. They're struggling against things humanity has never struggled against before, because when the warring king died, the war stopped. When the plague went away, it went away. When the drought ended, it ended, right? When the floods came, it went away. This is a problem that lives with us all the time. It comes out of Washington, and it's not going away unless we get them to stop printing money. Or we reorganize our lives to live where our feet are, and we reassess. I got 60, 70, 80 years here. Do I want to live it just toiling away and never having a retirement that's nowhere near it and living off $2,300 a month from Social Security? Maybe I need to move somewhere where life can be more enjoyable by me. And I'll be in the struggle with my common Americans in that fight, but I won't be fighting against something I can't stop.
That is a heck of a premise. The book is 1971, How All America's Problems Can Be Traced to a Singular Day in History. Paul Stone, thank you for joining us. You can find the book on Amazon, right, Paul?
Yep. Just put in 1971 Paul Stone. It'll come right up. Ugly picture of Nixon on the cover.
All right. Talk to you later, Paul. Thank you so much.
Love you for having me. Love everyone listening. God bless.
Thank you much. We'll be back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I mean, good Lord, the things that have been said about me, the lies that have been propagated. If I had only known, I could call up the FCC chair and say, take this person off the air. Get that person out of my sight, off with his head. Yeah. I'm just looking at Joe.
What?
Yeah,
I've done nothing but be kind to you.
Well, once you saw the light, I mean, what sort of...
It's Hillary Clinton and Joe Scarborough sucking it up. This Sunday is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk and Run. And our team, my friends, is in need of your support. Right now, every dollar counts. All of the hosts at Red Apple Media must rally their loyal audience to participate. So you can go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk and help your favorite host help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help us raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Let's never forget America's heroes and what they do for us. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please, Tunnel to Towers. You know, we love them here and love the work that they do. That was Hillary Clinton on PMS NBC, which is going to be PMS then or now or whatever. But she also had a few other things to say. We're going to try to squeeze them in if we can. Hillary Clinton. This might sound unbelievable to you, but she actually opened her mouth and said this.
That raises a larger question. I mean, we have... And I include myself. We have got to stop demonizing each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I think most of that right now in our country's history is coming, from the right, coming from people who want to dominate. They want their point of view.
You gotta stop dominating.
Writing out slavery from history. That doesn't make it go away.
It's a lie.
We have got to stop with the finger pointing and the scapegoating. We can have legitimate disagreements. Right? I mean, how do you provide quality, affordable health care to everybody? Let's figure that out. How do you deal with what's going to be job loss from AI? Let's get working on that. That's what we should be doing, but we should do it in the truth-based reality that we have to live in.
We can unpack
facts
this
and evidence have to matter.
Just stop it. We can unpack this all afternoon. This woman talking about truth-based realities. We've got to stop demonizing. Oh, it's the right. They want to take slavery out of everybody. That's the right. But then, for all of you that don't understand the political phenomena that would allow Hillary Clinton to lose, and to lose especially the male vote, especially the white male vote. I want you to just hear this. If you don't understand how that happened, cut 11 is your cut.
And I am proud of the fact that we have always been a work in progress. You know, we haven't gotten to the more perfect union, and we fought a civil war over part of it. And people have been protesting, you know, for hundreds of years that, you know, things were not as they should be, given our ideals and how we should be moving toward them. So I think that's what makes us so special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, you know, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, is just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on the path toward that. I mean, imperfectly, lots of, you know, bumps along the way, but I agree with you, we were on the right trajectory.
By the way, Princess Diana just reminded me of something. That first quote of Hillary, she said, that's rich. Hillary created the entire concept of the vast right-wing conspiracy and aimed her husband straight at Rush Limbaugh. And that is exactly what happened. This woman talking about maybe we should stop demonizing, especially those people, that basket of deplorables needs to stop demonizing people. And yes, Lady Benedict. Lady Benedict is also apparently heard those cuts. She said, last time I checked, Hillary's husband is white. Look. Here's the thing. We don't really know whether he voted for Hillary, do we? I mean, we can just assume that he did, but do we know? I couldn't get to the other cut, which is her talking about how she and the Clinton initiative are trying to fill in the gaps in humanitarian aid. Folks, these are the last people. Never mind. I don't have time to develop the thought, so we'll try to come back to it. Gotta go. Bobby McFerrin takes us out. He was at number one with this on this day. His big hit. That was in 1988. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
This Sunday is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, and our team is in need of your support. Right now, every dollar counts. The WABC hosts must all rally their loyal audience to participate. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk and help your favorite hosts right here at WABC and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk. Help WABC raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk.